She walked into Judge Judy's courtroom, dripping diamonds, smirking like she'd already won. An oil tycoon worth millions, and clearly used to getting her way. She didn't just ignore Judge Judy. She leaned in and whispered something so bold that the entire courtroom went silent. People actually stopped breathing. But then Judge Judy slowly lifted her eyes, that famous, deadly stare. And in that instant, the woman's confidence snapped. Because what Judy said next didn't just shut her down. It crushed her. Before we jump in, tell me, where are you watching from? And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. The air shifted the moment he walked in. The echo of that whispered insult still hangs in the air when Judge Judy leans back, studying the oil tycoon like a riddle she has already solved. The courtroom has not moved. It has not breathed. It is waiting. The diamonds on Cassandra Vale's wrists glint under the harsh lights, tiny constellations scattered across her skin. She sits tall, shoulders angled like she is posing for a magazine cover, instead of sitting before a judge who has ended stronger egos than hers. Her smirk remains but thinner now, stretched tight by the memory of the moment. Her whisper collided with Judge Judy's lifted eyes. The contractor stands beside her, clutching a folder like it is the last solid piece of ground he has. His name is Thomas Reed, a quiet man with the posture of someone who has been pushed around long enough to start shrinking into himself. Yet, even he blinks at Cassandra, stunned by the boldness she carried into the courtroom like a weapon. Judge Judy flips the first page of the case file. The crisp sound slices through the silence, sharp as a reprimand. Cassandra's smirk flickers, just once. But Judy sees it. Everyone sees it. Confidence slipping like a thread pulled too far. So, Judy begins, voice steady, tone deceptively calm. You believed whispering that in my courtroom was appropriate. Cassandra leans back, crossing one elegant leg over the other, diamonds shifting like ice. I simply expressed an opinion, she says lightly, trying to lace her voice with charm. It lands flat. I assume this was an open forum. Judy raises one eyebrow, the look that has ended careers. Assumed, she repeats, letting the word hang as an indictment. That seems to be a pattern with you. A murmur ripples across the gallery. Cassandra shifts, shoulders tightening, as if she feels the room turning the glare of attention no longer admiring, but dissecting. Judy turns the file toward the bench light. The glow illuminates the first page and Cassandra's posture stiffens. She recognizes the document instantly. It is not the version she expected Judy to be holding. This, Judy says, tapping the top corner, is your original agreement with Mr. Reed, signed, dated, clear. Cassandra swallows, the movement small but impossible to hide. Thomas Reed's eyes lift for the first time, meeting Judy's. Hope flickers behind them, fragile, but present. Miss Vale, Judy continues. Before I go any further, I want to ask one question. She leans forward, elbows on the desk, gaze sharp as a scalpel. When exactly did you intend to pay him? Cassandra opens her mouth, confidence returning for half a second. Then Judy turns the page. The smirk dissolves, because the next sheet is something Cassandra never meant for anyone in this courtroom to see. And the moment Judy slides that page into the light, Cassandra's diamonds stop sparkling as if even they understand what is coming. The diamonds on Cassandra's wrist catch the light as she shifts in her seat, but her eyes, for the first time, flicker with something that does not shine. Confusion, maybe even fear. Judge Judy lifts the second page slowly, as though giving Cassandra time to absorb exactly what it means to be seen. Truly seen. The courtroom leans forward with her. Even the cameras seem to settle, as if they know the next few minutes will require perfect clarity. Cassandra straightens her back, but her posture lacks the effortless authority she strutted in with. It is rigid now, defensive. She tries to smile, but the expression stays trapped around her mouth, never reaching her eyes. Miss Vale, Judy begins, voice measured, you stated in your filing that you paid Mr. Reed in full. I did, Cassandra answers quickly. Too quickly. Months ago. I have the receipts. Judy tilts her head, the faintest show of skepticism. Wonderful. Then you will show them. Cassandra nods, reaching into her designer bag. The leather whispers as she rummages, pulling out a neatly folded sheet, pristine, perfectly timed, as if she rehearsed the gesture. But before she can offer it, Judy lifts her own copy. A printed bank statement. Highlighted. Annotated. Inevitable. Before you hand me anything, Judy says. Tone like a steel cable wrapped in silk. Explain why your alleged payment date doesn't appear on any of your financial records. Cassandra freezes. The room catches it instantly, the stillness. The microsecond pause that tells the truth before the lie can arrive. Thomas Reed watches her, breath held, too as if afraid to believe what he sees forming in front of him. Cassandra stumbling. Well, Cassandra says with a delicate laugh, I use multiple accounts. This one must not show the... Multiple accounts are not the issue. Judy taps the bank statement with a fingernail. This is the account you listed in your own affidavit. The only one legally relevant here. Cassandra exhales sharply, frustration flashing like heat lightning behind her eyes. That statement must be incomplete. Incomplete, Judy repeats, as if tasting the word. Interesting choice. She flips the document, sliding a different page into view. Because Mr. Reed provided his own documentation of your text exchange, where you promised payment by the 10th. Cassandra blinks. Once. Twice. Her diamonds glimmer with every small movement, reflecting light she no longer commands. I never sent that, she says, voice tightening. Judy's brows lift. Are you suggesting the plaintiff fabricated this? Her tone shifts softer but deadlier. Think carefully before you answer. Abentable desired. And desquera Javin. With bindidin. Abentable desire Javin. With could Javin. Abentable desire Javin. Abentable desire Javin. The gallery murmurs again, this time with sharper edges. The energy tilts against Cassandra. She senses it. Her hands fold together too neatly, fingers pressing harder than necessary. I am suggesting, she says slowly, trying to regain her poise, that the message could have been altered. People do strange things for money. Thomas flinches, insult landing like a slap. Judy does not blink. And people do strange things when they believe their wealth puts them above truth. Cassandra's lips press tight. Then Judy lowers her gaze to a final sheet in the file, one Cassandra does not recognize, and says, Before we proceed, explain this. Thomas Reed rises, slowly, the folder still clutched to his chest. His voice trembles not from fear, but from finally being allowed to speak, after months of being dismissed by someone who believes the world bends for her. Judge Judy gestures for him to step forward, and the camera seems to follow the movement, tightening the frame around his face. He is not flashy. No diamonds, no designer labels. Just a man who came to do honest work and watched his livelihood collapse under someone else's ego. Tell me what happened, Judy says. Thomas clears his throat. I completed the job exactly as she requested. Every modification, every revision. He glances toward Cassandra, but she stares through him, eyelids heavy with disdain. When it was done, she refused to pay the remainder. She said she didn't like my attitude. The gallery rustles. Cassandra smirks, arms folding across her chest like she is observing a minor inconvenience, not a legal dispute. Judy lifts a hand. Stop. Her gaze shifts to Cassandra. Is that accurate? Cassandra rolls her eyes. He was unprofessional. I do not tolerate incompetence. Thomas swallows hard, the words hitting him like stones. But his voice steadies. Your Honor, everything I did was documented. I have photos, timestamps, and a signed approval from her before I began the final work. He opens the folder, revealing several glossy photos. Judy studies each one carefully. The lighting in the courtroom sharpens as if the truth itself is tilting the room. These photos, Judy says, show a fully completed project. Not halfway. Not flawed. Completed. not flawed. Cassandra leans forward, an elegant finger tapping her diamond bracelet. Photos can be taken at angles that hide flaws, she says breezily. He is exaggerating to get more money out of me. This is what people do when they think wealthy individuals are easy targets. The words stab deeper than she intends. Even the audience shifts, a visible discomfort breaking across the rows. Thomas's shoulders slump for a moment. Then he takes a slow breath. I am not targeting her. I just want what I earned. His voice cracks, not from weakness, but from exhaustion that has piled up over months of being treated like he did not matter. Judge Judy turns her head sharply toward Cassandra. You said he was incompetent. Show me where in these photos the work is below standard. Cassandra elucidates the first real hesitation since she walked in dripping diamonds. Well, she starts, fingers twitching slightly. Some parts looked better in the proposal. Which parts? Judy presses, leaning forward, eyes sharp. Cassandra scans the photos too quickly, searching for an escape route that does not exist. The edges. Maybe the finish. It is hard to explain. It is not hard to explain, Judy counters. Cassandra's jaw tightens. Her silence says more than any excuse could. Thomas watches her crumble inch by inch, his own breath unsteady as the truth begins to surface, finally unburied. Judy taps the photo once, a tiny reverberation echoing in the tense room. So, who exactly is lying here? Cassandra's laugh cuts through the courtroom sharp, polished, meant to intimidate. But it dies halfway when Judge Judy raises a single hand. Silence spreads like a warning. Judge Judy leans forward, elbows resting lightly on the bench, eyes narrowing with the precision of someone who has dismantled arrogance for decades. The gallery quiets instantly. Even the cameras seem to hold still. Miss Vale, Judy says, voice low but commanding. Your confidence is impressive, but confidence does not replace consistency, and your story is showing cracks. Cassandra shifts, crossing her legs again, using elegance as armor. My story is fine. His story is the problem. She flicks a dismissive glance at Thomas. He is exaggerating everything. He has been trying to shake me down for months. Thomas flinches, gripping the folder tighter. His knuckles turn white, but he stays silent. The kind of silence that grows when someone has been drowned out too many times. Judy studies Cassandra for a long moment, watching the twitch of her fingers, the forced stillness in her shoulders, the way her eyes dart each time the truth inches closer. Her diamonds glitter, but her confidence doesn't. Let us walk through your version, Judy says. Slowly. She lifts the file, flipping each page with deliberate, unhurried movements. The courtroom equivalent of stretching a bowstring. First, Judy says, you said you paid him on the 10th. Yes, Cassandra replies instantly. Except, Judy continues, tapping the statement, the 10th passed without a single outgoing payment from your account. Cassandra's jaw tenses. As I said, I use multiple accounts, which is irrelevant, Judy counters smoothly, because the agreement states payment would come from the account you listed, under penalty of perjury. That word perjury lands like a strike across Cassandra's polished composure. She sits up straighter, diamonds chiming softly as her bracelets shift. Judy does not stop. Second, you claim the work was substandard. She holds up the photos. Yet you approved these images before final payment was due. Cassandra swallows. A small, quick motion. The first real crack. And finally, Judy says, lifting the last page, you stated you attempted to resolve this amicably. Yes, Cassandra says, voice strained. So, Judy asks, leaning in, why does your text message say, she flips the document around? I'm not paying him. He can sway me if he feels brave. The room gasps. Even the air shifts. Cassandra's face drains of color. That is out of context, she whispers. Judy smiles, not kindly, not cruelly, just knowingly. I thought you might say that. She reaches beneath the bench and lifts a printed sheet, a different document. One Cassandra clearly does not remember, one she never meant for anyone to see. Judy places the paper on the desk and says, "Then explain this email, where you admit you never intended to pay him at all." Cassandra's diamonds stop sparkling. Her confidence stops breathing. Cassandra's fingers tighten around the edge of her designer purse, barely noticeable, unless you know what fear looks like when it tries to hide behind diamonds. The printed email sits on Judge Judy's bench like a quiet detonator. Cassandra stares at it, eyes wide, breath shallow, searching for a way to pretend the explosion is not already happening. Her throat moves in a tense swallow, the kind that betrays more truth than any sentence she could craft. Judy waits, not impatiently, not theatrically, just long enough for Cassandra to feel the weight of her own words reflected back at her. "Miss Vale," Judy says, voice calm as polished steel, "this email is from your account, your device, your timestamp. Would you like to explain why you wrote, 'I will drag this out until he gives up'?" A ripple moves through the courtroom like wind across tall grass, quiet but unmistakable. Cassandra forces a laugh, brittle as glass. "Context, Your Honor. That email was—" "Please," Judy interrupts gently. "Do not say taken out of context again. You are running out of context to hide behind." The laughter Cassandra tries to release falters. Her smile collapses halfway, replaced by the unmistakable tremor of someone losing ground. The diamonds on her wrist shift, as her hand starts to shake. Thomas Reed watches her from across the room, disbelief flickering in his tired eyes. For months, he had imagined this woman, untouchable, unreachable, someone whose wealth let her rewrite reality at will. But now, she looks human, vulnerable, faillible. Cassandra inhales sharply. "Your Honor, that email was written in frustration. He kept asking for money before the project was fully completed." Judy lifts the photos again. "He completed everything. You approved everything. So what exactly were you frustrated with?" Cassandra's lips part, but no answer emerges. "And while you are thinking about that," Judy continues, flipping to another highlighted line in the email, "you also wrote, 'He should feel lucky I hired him at all.'" The courtroom stiffens, a collective recoil from entitlement laid bare. Cassandra's composure fractures, a tiny crack radiating through the mask she arrived with. Her leg bounces, her bracelets shingle softly, betraying nerves she cannot silence. "I did not mean," she begins. "You meant it enough to write it," Judy replies. "And enough to act on it." Cassandra's gaze drops. It is the first downward look she has given anyone all day. Judy lets the silence settle. Not smothering, just honest. Then she says, "Intent matters, Miss Vale, and you have shown yours in your own handwriting." Cassandra's breath catches, shallow and uneven. Her posture shrinks, shoulders folding inward, the subtle collapse of someone realizing they are not in control anymore. Judy studies her for a long second, then closes the email file with a decisive tap. She turns to Cassandra once more. "And now," Judy says, voice cooling further, "we are going to examine your voicemail, the one you hoped would never surface." A heavy silence settles over the courtroom, not peaceful, but pressurized, as if every breath is waiting for Cassandra Vale's next move. Her diamonds gleam, but her certainty does not. Judge Judy adjusts her glasses, the movement small but electrifying. "Miss Vale," she says, "before we proceed to the voicemail, I want to understand something. You keep insisting you were in the right." Her voice sharpens. "Explain to me how refusing to pay someone for completed work is right." Cassandra's jaw stiffens. She draws in a slow breath, placing her hands neatly in her lap, a gesture that once looked elegant, but now feels like she is holding herself together. "With respect," she begins, "I have high standards. I am a public figure. My properties represent my brand. When someone delivers subpar work, it reflects on me." Thomas glances down, shoulders tightening. The words hit hard not because they were unexpected, but because she continues to say them like truth. Judy taps the bench lightly. "Subpar work? You approved the final project, twice, and the photos do not show flaws. Do you have evidence of any? Cassandra blinks slowly. No physical evidence, but perception matters. People of my status. No physical evidence. And the baiters 2 of 19. People of your status. Judy cuts in. Do not get different rules here. The courtroom shifts a subtle, collective inhale. Cassandra's lips part in disbelief, as if no one has ever said that to her without fear of consequence. Your Honor, Cassandra says, recovering with a thin smile. You must understand the pressure I'm under. I make decisions every day that affect millions of dollars. I cannot afford to let inferior work tarnish anything I build. Judy's eyes narrow. What you cannot afford, Miss Vale, is believing your money gives you the authority to mistreat people. Cassandra's composure ripples a quick, visible break. Thomas watches, fingers gripping the edges of his folder. For months he battled the sickening idea that wealth meant winning, no matter the truth. For the first time, he sees that idea faltering. Judy continues. Let me ask you another question. When Mr. Reed requested payment, instead of paying, did you or did you not leave him a voicemail? Cassandra hesitates. I may have. I was under stress, so you did. Judy gestures to the clerk. Please play the recording. The clerk nods, pressing a button. The speakers crackle softly. Cassandra's eyes dart toward the sound system, as if she could will it silent. The room freezes. Then Cassandra's voice fills the air cold, dismissive, dripping with superiority. Stop bothering me, her recorded voice says. You'll get paid when I feel like it. Keep pushing me, and I'll make sure you regret it. A hush falls so deep it vibrates. Cassandra's face drains of color. Her fingers tremble. Judy watches her without blinking. Is that your voice? Cassandra swallows. Yes. But there is no but coming, Judy says softly. Because next, she adds, leaning in, her voice like the strike of a match. We are going to verify the metadata unless you would like to admit the truth before that. Cassandra's own voice hangs in the air, cold and dripping with contempt, a ghost. She never expected to confront in front of a judge who does not flinch from truth. The recording continues, each word landing with the weight of a confession wrapped in arrogance. I do not owe you anything until I decide I do. Stop acting like you matter. A few people in the gallery shift uncomfortably, glancing at Thomas, who stares straight ahead, his face tightening as if he is bracing against the memory. The humiliation in Cassandra's tone is not subtle, it is designed to sting. Cassandra squeezes her eyes shut for a moment, as if she could unhear her own voice. When she opens them, the courtroom lights seem harsher, less forgiving, illuminating every crack she has tried to conceal. Ms. Vale, Judge Judy says, her tone quiet but carrying the force of a gavel strike. Is that, or is that not your voicemail? Cassandra exhales shakily. It sounds like me, yes. Sounds like you? Judy repeats, eyebrow arching. It is you. Every syllable reflects exactly the person you have shown yourself to be here today. Cassandra flinches, an involuntary twitch of the eyes and jaw. Thomas swallows, fingers brushing the worn edges of his folder. For months, he replayed that voicemail alone, wondering if anyone would ever take it seriously. Now, the entire courtroom has heard it. There is something both painful and relieving in that. Judy continues. Your tone, your words, your intent, they speak for themselves. You did not simply refuse to pay him. You belittled him. Cassandra's voice wavers. Your Honor, because he was owed money. Judy snaps gently but unmistakably. That is not harassment. That is persistence. There is a difference. Cassandra falls silent. Her breath comes unevenly, and her fingers tremble around the strap of her purse. Her diamonds still sparkle, but they no longer look like symbols of power, only remnants of a persona slipping out of her grasp. Judy nods toward the clerk. Pause the playback. The room stills, as if the absence of Cassandra's voice reveals even more truth than the recording itself. Now, Judy says, you claim this audio may have been edited. Are you standing by that statement? Cassandra hesitates. Her throat tightens. Her eyes dart from Judy to the clerk, then to Thomas. Every direction holds a wall. No, she finally whispers. I cannot say that. Judy leans forward. Good, because the metadata has already been authenticated. If you had continued to deny it, we would have proceeded to verification, and you would not have liked that process. A ripple of tension sweeps through the courtroom. Cassandra's mask fractures visibly. Her shoulders slump. Her voice, once sharp and dripping with superiority, softens into something fragile. I did not mean to hurt him, she says quietly. The words fade before they can become truth. Judy's gaze sharpens. You just thought you were untouchable. Cassandra does not deny it. Judy closes the file slowly. And now, Miss Vale, we will address something even more concerning your countersuit. Cassandra Vale sits frozen, as if the air has thickened around her. She expected a fight. She did not expect a trap. And Judge Judy has just finished laying the last piece of it. Judge Judy folds her hands neatly atop the bench, a gesture so calm it becomes terrifying. The courtroom quiets, breath pulled tight, waiting for the next strike. Cassandra shifts, the legs of her chair scraping softly, a sound that betrays nerves. Diamonds cannot hide. Let us discuss your countersuit, Judy begins. Her voice is measured, the one you filed claiming emotional distress and defamation. Cassandra lifts her chin, rebuilding her mask piece by piece. Yes, I had every right. He spread lies about me, damaged my reputation. Thomas stiffens, eyes darting toward the bench. The accusation hits him like a slap he has already endured too many times. Judy reaches for a separate folder, thinner than the main case file, but far more dangerous. She opens it slowly, revealing a set of official documents stamped with another court seal. This countersuit, Judy says, tapping the top page, was filed in a different jurisdiction, one that has no legal authority over this contract. Cassandra blinks, color draining from her face. My assistant handled that. I did not know. Your signature is on every page, Judy replies, sliding the file into the light. Shall we examine each one? The gallery murmurs a low, uneasy rustle of disbelief and judgment. Cassandra's mouth opens, but her voice falters. I was told it would strengthen my position. By whom? Judy asks. Not accusing, just surgical. Cassandra accedes. Silence stretches. Her fingers curl around her purse strap, knuckles whitening. I do not remember, she whispers. Judy leans back. Convenient. The cameras zoom in, capturing the tremor in Cassandra's jaw. The crack in her persona widens. Judy continues, voice steady as a tightening noose. This was not just a countersuit. It was a strategic attempt to intimidate Mr. Reed, to scare him into silence, to burden him with legal costs. Cassandra's eyes widen. That was not my intention. No, Judy interrupts softly. Then why does your filing include language accusing him of fraud, negligence, and malicious harassment? Without evidence, without basis, without shame. Thomas lowers his gaze, overwhelmed not by victory, but by relief that someone finally sees the whole truth. Cassandra shakes her head, breath-breaking. I was trying to protect myself. People take advantage of me all the time. I needed leverage. Judy's stare hardens. Power is not leverage, truth is. The silence that follows is heavier than any argument Cassandra could muster. Then Judy lifts the final page, a verified record from the other court dismissing Cassandra's claim outright, labeling it frivolous and retaliatory. Cassandra's breath catches audibly. Miss Vale, Judy says, tapping the dismissal with a single finger, you did not defend yourself. You abused the legal system to punish someone for asking for what he earned. Cassandra's body slumps, diamonds dimming under the harsh lights. Judy places the dismissal beside the voicemail transcript. And that, she says, is why this court is now considering whether your actions constitute deliberate intimidation. We will proceed. Cassandra's world tilts because the trap has closed, and she never saw it coming. Cassandra opens her mouth as if to speak, but nothing comes out. Her confidence, once loud enough to fill the room, flickers like a light losing power. And everyone sees it. For the first time since she walked into the courtroom dripping in diamonds, Cassandra Vale looks small. Not physically, her posture is still upright. Her clothes immaculate, but something in the air around her has changed. Her aura of invincibility, the invisible shield money once provided, has begun to crumble. Judge Judy folds the dismissal papers neatly, like a doctor preparing instruments before a difficult truth. "Miss Vale," she says calmly, "your countersuit was not only baseless, it was retaliatory. You attempted to weaponize a court against a man who simply wanted to be paid." Cassandra's chest rises with a sharp inhale, her breath catching at the top like it cannot find its way back down. "That is not, I did not mean, you meant to intimidate him," Judy replies, voice steady. Cassandra's hands tremble. The diamonds she once flaunted now glimmer with nervous movements. She clasps them together, but the trembling only becomes more obvious. The gallery watches her unravel. Some faces show curiosity, others anger, others something almost like pity, but no one sees the towering force she was when she entered. Thomas Reed stands beside his table, the folder held loosely now. His shoulders loosen with a slow exhale, a subtle release of weight he has carried alone for too long. He studies Cassandra with a mixture of disbelief and something unexpected sadness. It is a strange thing, watching the person who harmed you come apart. Judy notices his expression, then turns back to Cassandra. "Let me ask you something, Miss Vale." She leans forward, her eyes narrowing like twin spotlights. "What exactly were you trying to hide?" The words hit the room like a dropped gavel. Cassandra's breathing falters. She tries to speak, but her voice arrives in fragments, chipped by panic. I was protecting myself. People assume, with my status, they think they can take advantage." "No," Judy says, slicing through the excuse before it can fully form. "This is not about people taking advantage of you. This is about you taking advantage of power." The mask Cassandra wore so proudly begins to fracture. Her eyes drop to the table, staring at nothing, as if she is searching for a version of the truth she can live with. "You filed a false countersuit," Judy continues, voice lifting only slightly, "because you were afraid, not of him." A single tear gathers in the corner of Cassandra's eye. She blinks it away, but the shine betrays her. The courtroom does not move. Even the air seems to pause. Hovering between judgment and mercy, Cassandra finally whispers, "I did not want to look weak." Judy nods slowly. "And now?" Cassandra swallows, voice cracking. "Now I do not know what I look like." Judy's tone softens, but her words sharpen. "We will find out," she says. "Because your truth is about to get louder than your fear." The courtroom does not speak. It judges. Eyes shift, breaths tighten, and Cassandra feels every stare like heat rising beneath her skin. The room that once admired her diamonds now mirrors her unraveling. Cassandra sits rigid, shoulders pulled tight as if she is holding herself together through sheer force. The silence presses in on her, a silence heavier than any insult, any accusation, any threat she ever used to control a room. Here, she cannot buy silence. She cannot bend it. She must sit in it. Judge Judy studies her for several long seconds, the kind of attention that feels like truth peeling back layers. "Miss Vale," she says, voice calm but cutting, "power has a way of making people believe they are the exception. You have acted like rules exist for others, not for you." Cassandra's lips part, trembling slightly. I did not try to be above the law." "Then why?" Judy asks, sliding the countersuit documents closer. "Did you file accusations you knew had no merit?" A wave rolls through the gallery, murmurs, shifts, sharp inhales. Cassandra feels it. She feels all of it. Her breath stumbles. "I was overwhelmed. People take advantage of me constantly. I am a woman in a male-dominated industry. I have to protect what I built." End quote. Judy's expression softens only a fraction. Protecting yourself is not the same as punishing others. Cassandra looks down, her hair falling slightly across her face. For once, she does not move it aside with a confident flick. Her voice drops. "I did not mean for it to go this far." Thomas Reed stands at his table, hands clasped in front of him. There is no smugness on his face, no satisfaction, only a quiet recognition of how much damage carelessness can cause. Judy turns to him. "Mr. Reed, your reaction matters here. How have her actions affected you?" Thomas swallows. "Your Honor, she made me feel invisible. Like my work, my time, my livelihood meant nothing. I doubted myself. I doubted my business." His voice tightens. "I lost clients because I was tied up with this. People heard rumors. They believed her over me." Judy nods, letting the weight of his words settle. Then she shifts her gaze back to Cassandra. "Do you hear that? That is not the story of a wealthy woman being taken advantage of. That is the story of someone harmed by your choices." Note of night. Cassandra's eyes glisten. She blinks quickly, but the shine remains. The room tilts further away from her. Not with cruelty, but with clarity. Judy leans in slightly. "You told this court you did not want to look weak, but true weakness is hiding behind intimidation when honesty would have sufficed." Cassandra's breath falters. "I did not know how else to—" She stops. Words fail her again. Judy watches her quietly, as if giving her space to feel the truth she has run from for years. "Miss Vale," Judy says gently, "this case is no longer about a payment. It is about accountability." Cassandra's voice cracks. "I understand." Judy nods once. "Then explain the missing document your assistant refused to provide. Because that is where your real intentions begin to show." Cassandra's hands fall to her lap, slow and powerless, as if gravity itself has turned against her. The courtroom watches her shrink into the chair she once treated as a throne. Judge Judy's gaze lingers on Cassandra, with a stillness that is more revealing than any accusation. The missing document, the one Cassandra's assistant refused to release, now sits on Judy's desk, sealed in a plain manila envelope, unremarkable in appearance, devastating in substance. Judy taps the envelope once. "This was obtained by subpoena. Your assistant claimed it was irrelevant. You claimed you did not know what I was referring to." Cassandra looks at the floor. Her voice is barely a whisper. "I didn't." Judy lifts the envelope with 2 fingers, as if weighing it. "Then you can explain it to me now." She slides the document out with slow precision. A stack of printed internal emails. Correspondence marked private. Cassandra's signature on every thread. The gallery stiffens. Cassandra's spine curves inward, as if the papers physically push her backward. Judy begins to read aloud. Quote, "If this contractor thinks he can pressure me, he needs a reminder of who holds the power." The words slice through the room. Thomas inhales sharply. Cassandra's eyes squeeze shut. Judy continues, her tone even more controlled, which somehow makes it worse. "Delay payment. Delay responses. Make him chase. People like him don't have the resources to fight." The courtroom absorbs the cruelty in silence. Cassandra's breath trembles against her will. "And here," Judy says, flipping to the final page. The most telling sentence. She reads slowly, letting every word settle like dust on exposed truth. "These small contractors survive on fear. If we don't enforce it, they forget their place." A stunned gasp ripples through the room, part outrage, part disbelief, part heartbreak. Cassandra's shoulders collapse. Her hand covers her mouth as if she might be sick. Thomas stares at her, not with anger now, but with something deeper. The pain of seeing the written proof that his suffering was deliberate. Cassandra forces out a broken whisper. I didn't mean it the way it sounds." "Oh, it sounds exactly as you meant it," Judy replies softly. It is the arrogance of power written in ink. Cassandra finally looks up, tears gathering despite her attempt to blink them away. "I was scared," she says, the confession trembling out of her. "Everyone sees me as strong, untouchable. I can't afford to look weak in my world. So I—" Judy's expression shifts, not sympathy, but understanding sharpened by expectation. "You weren't fighting him," she says. "You were fighting the parts of yourself you never learned to confront." Cassandra's tears spill. A single drop lands on the table, darkening the polished wood. The room holds still, suspended in the gravity of a truth, finally exposed a truth. Cassandra spent years burying beneath diamonds and dominance. Judy places the document down gently. "Miss Vale," she says, voice deepened with meaning, "your greatest enemy in this case was never Mr. Reed. It was the fear that turned you into the person sitting here today." Cassandra breaks and the courtroom finally sees her humanity. For the first time since the hearing began, Cassandra Vale does not move. The diamonds on her wrist lie still, as if even they have surrendered to the heaviness settling around her. The courtroom feels different now, quieter, dimmer, shaped by the emotional shockwave that followed the revelation of Cassandra's internal emails. The storm has passed, but its aftermath hangs in the air like charged static. No one speaks, no one shifts. Even the cameras, usually a constant hum in the background, seem to soften their presence. Judge Judy doesn't say anything at first. She simply watches Cassandra with an expression that is neither anger nor triumph, something closer to reflection. It is an expression reserved for moments when justice intersects with humanity in ways that are painful for everyone involved. Thomas stands with his arms at his sides, the folder he once clutched now loose in his hand. His breathing is steady, but there's a tightness around his eyes, the look of a man who is trying to understand what it means to finally be seen after months of being dismissed. Cassandra sits hunched forward, elbows on her knees, her face hidden behind trembling hands. For a woman who once entered the room like a monument to power, she now looks like someone trying to gather pieces she doesn't know how to hold anymore. The emails, her own words, echo silently in the space between her and the judge. Judy finally breaks the quiet, her voice softer than at any point before. "Miss Vale," she says, "take a breath." Cassandra inhales shakily, as if breathing were something she forgot how to do. "You have spent this entire case fighting," Judy continues, "but not the way you think. You've been fighting yourself, fighting the fear of vulnerability, fighting the idea that someone might see past the image you crafted." Cassandra lowers her hands, revealing eyes rimmed red. Not from theatrics, she no longer has the strength for that, but from the weight of being confronted with the truth she spent years avoiding. Thomas watches her with an expression, neither hostile nor forgiving, simply human. He sees the damage she caused, yes, but he also sees a woman collapsing under the cost of her own armor. Judy leans forward slightly. "Mr. Reed did not destroy your reputation. You did, because somewhere along the way, you learned to confuse strength with cruelty, and forgot that responsibility comes with power." Cassandra nods faintly, swallowing hard. Her voice emerges barely above a whisper. "I didn't know how else to protect myself." "The world you built," Judy replies, "is not the same as the world you're in now, and fear is not an excuse for harm." The courtroom remains soundless, no gavel strikes, no questions, no objections, just emotion settling like dust after a quake. Judy straightens. "We are not finished. There is still the matter of accountability, and what happens next depends on whether you are finally ready to face it." A soft hum fills the courtroom camera equipment, shifting fabric, nervous breaths, but none of it touches Cassandra Vale. She sits motionless, as if the world has stepped back to let her face herself. Judge Judy folds her hands, posture steady, voice gentler than before. The harsh intensity from earlier has thinned, replaced by something heavier, more contemplative. "Miss Vale," she says, "we've examined your actions. Now we must examine the impact." Cassandra lifts her gaze. Her eyes are still glassy, but there is something new in them, not fear, not defiance, but recognition. Judy turns toward Thomas Reed. Mr. Reed, would you describe how these events affected your life? Not legally, personally. Thomas takes a slow breath. He is not used to being asked how he feels. Your Honor, I've always been proud of my work. I built my business from nothing. But when she refused to pay me, when she filed that fake countersuit, it made me feel small. His voice tightens. Like I didn't matter. Like the truth didn't matter. Cassandra lowers her head, shame washing over her features like a tide she cannot outrun. Thomas continues. I lost sleep, lost clients. I couldn't focus. I kept thinking, what if she's right? What if I'm the problem? He swallows. And that voicemail, I played it more times than I should have. It made me feel like I was dirt under her shoe. Judy studies Cassandra's reaction, her shoulders folding inward, her hands twisting in her lap, her breathing uneven. The emotional collapse is no longer dramatic, it is painfully human. Miss Vale, Judy says softly, do you understand what your actions took from him? Cassandra nods weakly. Yes, I do. But the words arrive thin, barely able to hold their own weight. Say it, Judy urges, not unkindly. Say what you see. Cassandra's throat constricts. Her voice emerges raw. I hurt him. I made him doubt himself. I made him feel worthless. And I didn't care. Not then. Thomas looks at her, not triumphant, but deeply moved by the vulnerability she never allowed herself before. Cassandra presses trembling fingers to her forehead. I thought if I ever appeared soft, people would walk all over me. So I walked over them first. Her voice breaks. I didn't realize the damage until now. Judy lets the confession settle, her expression measured. Arrogance is not a shield, Miss Vale. It is a blade. And too often, it cuts those who never meant to harm you. Cassandra closes her eyes. When a tear slipping down her cheek, a quiet acknowledgement of how many wounds she inflicted, just to protect the fragile image she mistook for strength. Thomas shifts, clearing his throat. I don't want her destroyed, he says softly. I just wanted fairness. The statement surprises the room. It surprises Cassandra most of all. Her eyes widen with gratitude and guilt intertwined. Judy nods, absorbing both pieces of humanity at once. The pain caused and the unexpected compassion offered. Judy's voice steadies. Accountability does not erase pain, but it can stop the harm from continuing. Which means it is time to determine what accountability looks like for you, Miss Vale. Judge Judy's tone shifts slower, heavier, as though the courtroom has reached a place where punishment and understanding must be held in the same hand. Cassandra lifts her head, waiting for judgment she is no longer sure she can withstand. The lights above seem softer now, not because they dimmed, but because Cassandra's eyes no longer carry the sharp glint of defiance. They hold something quieter, something vulnerable. Her facade has thinned into transparency, leaving behind the raw human being inside the diamonds and bravado. Judy clears her throat gently, drawing the room's attention with the gravity of a closing chapter. Miss Vale, everything you've done, the delays, the contempt, the countersuit points to one thing: a misuse of power. But before I decide what happens next, I need to know if you understand why that matters. And we want to. Is more matters. And we want to through thousand, with utilsigraded where. Cassandra nods, but Judy raises a hand. Not with gestures. With truth. Cassandra hesitates. Her voice, when it comes, is soft but steady. I thought power meant always winning. Never bending. Never showing weakness. She swallows. I forgot that power is responsibility. I forgot that people depend on fairness, not intimidation. Thomas listens, the tension in his shoulders easing. Not forgiven, but softened. Judy continues. The law cares about action, but humanity cares about intention. And yours have been conflicted. You built an empire by being strong, but somewhere along the way, you convinced yourself that empathy made you fragile. The words land like gentle blows, painful, but shaping. Cassandra takes a slow breath. I didn't realize how much damage I caused. I didn't look at the human side of it. I only saw the risk to myself. The gallery members exchange glances, some surprised by the candor, others unsure what to make of this new Cassandra. Judy leans back slightly, her voice carrying a rare softness. Miss Vale, people are not threats simply because they stand before you. They are not obstacles to be crushed when you fear losing control. And Cassandra's eyes glisten. I know that now, she whispers. I just wish I had seen it sooner. Thomas steps forward subtly. Your Honor, I don't want to see her torn apart. I just want this to be fair. Cassandra turns toward him, startled by the unexpected empathy. The look she gives him is not one of superiority, but gratitude shaken, humbled gratitude. Judy nods to Thomas. Fairness is the foundation of justice, and justice is what we're here to deliver, not revenge. 1. 82 to in 12 to the Sist. And in 19:1, she returns her focus to Cassandra. What matters now is not the empire you built or the wealth you flaunted. What matters is whether you are willing to accept the consequences of your actions without hiding behind excuses. End quote. Cassandra nods, slowly, with sincerity she never allowed herself to show before. Yes, I am. A long breath moves through the courtroom, as though the entire room has been holding it for hours. Judy straightens, her gaze leveling into something resolute. Then it is time you learn what justice looks like. The gavel in Judge Judy's hand hovers, not threatening, not dramatic, but steady, like the final punctuation of a truth too long denied. Cassandra Vale exhalas, her shoulders sagging under the weight of what she knows is coming. Judge Judy looks at Cassandra for a long, deliberate moment, not with anger, not with contempt, with clarity, the kind only a judge and a lifetime of seeing people at their worst and best can hold. Miss Vale, she begins, voice firm but calm. This courtroom is not a place where wealth defines truth. It is where truth defines outcome. Cassandra nods faintly. She doesn't attempt to speak. Her voice left her 2 sections ago. Judy continues. You knowingly withheld payment. You mocked, threatened, and demeaned a man who completed his work with professionalism. You filed a false countersuit to intimidate him. These are not small errors. They are choices. Cassandra's eyes glisten. The diamond bracelet on her wrist no longer sparkles. It hangs like a reminder of the person she no longer wants to be. Thomas Reed bows his head, not in victory, but in release. His breath stumbles out in a quiet exhale, like a man setting down a burden that has lived on his shoulders far too long. Judy turns to him. Mr. Reed, you will receive the full amount owed to you. Thomas nods, eyes wet. Additionally, Judy continues, returning her sharp gaze to Cassandra, you will pay penalties for deliberate bad faith, emotional distress caused by your retaliatory actions, and all related costs incurred due to your misuse of the legal system. Cassandra's breath trembles, but she nods. There is no fight left, only understanding. And, Judy adds this time more firmly, your countersuit, already dismissed in another jurisdiction, will be formally referred to the appropriate authorities for review. Your behavior cannot go unchecked. Cassandra closes her eyes. Her chin quivers. I understand, Your Honor. The courtroom doesn't shift in triumph. It shifts in something softer, something like healing. Judy leans forward. Miss Vale, this ruling is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to teach you. Power is not measured by intimidation. Strength is not the ability to break others. True power, she pauses, letting the words settle, is the courage to face your own flaws and change. Cassandra wipes a tear from her cheek. I will, she whispers. And for the first time, it sounds real. Thomas glances at her, not with anger, but with a cautious kind of empathy. He never wanted her broken, only accountable, only fair. Judy places the gavel down gently, not a slam, not a shout, just a final, Resonant conclusion. This matter is resolved. A soft thud echoes through the courtroom. Final. Irrevocable. Honest. Cassandra bows her head. Thomas straightens his back. And the room, after so much tension, finally breathes again.